That's all I hear. Turn on television. Right? COVID, 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 COVID. A plane goes down. 500 people dead. They don't talk about it. COVID, 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 COVID. By the way, on November 4th, you won't hear about it anymore.
You know, from the beginning of this pandemic, all the way back in January and February, it's been painfully clear that for Donald Trump and most of the congressional Republican leadership, that COVID was primarily a political problem that had to be managed because of the election. Not a health problem, a political problem with eyes on November. And one of the biggest giveaways of their position is what they projected onto their political opponents. I mean, they couldn't believe that the steps that some governors and mayors were taking to combat the virus were driven by serious concerns that COVID was deadly and needed to be combated. Instead, they suggested it was also an elaborate conspiracy to politically kneecap Donald Trump.
If it ends up that Biden wins in November, I hope he doesn't. I don't think he will. But if he does, I guarantee you the week after the election, suddenly all those Democratic governors, all those Democratic mayors will say, everything's magically better. Go back to work, go back to school. Suddenly the problems are solved. You won't even have to wait for Biden to be sworn in.
I guarantee you, that's a Ted Cruz guarantee. A week after the election, I guarantee you that all those Democratic governors and mayors will say the problem's solved. No more COVID restrictions. They'll take them all away. It was all just to hurt Trump. Well, guess what? The election's over, and what's happening is the opposite of what Ted Cruz guaranteed. In fact, Democratic governors like Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan and Kate Brown of Oregon, who imposed restrictions earlier in the pandemic, have now imposed new restrictions amid COVID spikes in their states. That's not all. Republicans who are abandoning their pre-election positions, they're the ones who are doing that and embracing public health measures. Governors Gary Herbert of Utah, Doug Burgum of North Dakota are now changing their tune. They're embracing masks after months of resistance. And then there's Iowa Republican Governor Kim Reynolds, who vowed back in July, quote, "No, I'm not going to mandate masks. I trust Iowans." Reynolds was photographed maskless at an indoor pro-Trump event in October. That's her giving a high five in a crowded, mostly maskless room. And not only did she not object to Trump holding one of his super spreader rallies in her state a few days later, she was spotted in the crowd at the rally not wearing a mask. Well, now guess what? Iowa's hospitals are full across the state. There's barely an ICU bed to be found. If you get COVID tomorrow and you have to go to the ICU, tough luck. It's a nightmare. And last night, Governor Kim Reynolds, who once disparaged mask mandates as a feel-good measure, guess what she did? She issued a statewide mask mandate along with other restrictions. It's a good thing, too. Much too late. But it's the opposite of what Ted Cruz said would happen. Who is really playing politics, do you think? As hospitals fill up and Americans, conservative and liberal, are being cut down by the virus, there are still Republicans who are treating the pandemic with the same recklessness and denial they always have. We're going to talk to Senator Sherrod Brown, who was attacked by one such Republican after asking him to just put on a mask. Right after this.